mix their genes, they will burn also, get cancer also, and get left behind also, just like them, Caucasians. Because they chose to follow the image of the beast instead of being proud of their own and come home to the temple of the Most High to be measured by the rod. Instead they remain outside the temple, so they will not be counted. And they just blaspheme the name of Eli, who has authority over these plagues, even though they brought it on themselves. They did not repent to glorify him. The fire spoken in the above quote is the sun. And in the Greek language is helios, from the Greek heli, meaning a ray of light. These rays of light are the gamma rays and the ultraviolet rays that harm the skin and the tissues of the body, causing infectious skin disease disorders such as skin cancer, mutation in the DNA, which causes cells to lose the ability to stop dividing, thereby causing the skin cells to become cancerous. Basal cell carcinoma or epithelioma, the most common type of skin cancer. It appears as small waxy nodules with rolled translucent pearly borders with visual blood vessels on the surface. This type of cancer can result in the loss of a nose, an ear, or lip. Malignant melanoma, the deadliest variety of skin cancer. It often signals its presence by a change such as irritation, bleeding, pain, or an outline of an ordinary mole, a tumor of melanocytes, pigment cells that can occur in one of several forms: superficial spreading melanoma, lentigo malignant melanoma, nodular melanoma, and acral lentiginous melanoma. People with it can come out in the day without blisters, then have blisters forming all over their bodies within minutes. The original Nubian, the Pathaite, Cushite, Ethiopian, called Nubun by the ancients, or Nine Ether. Or what you know as kinky, woolly-haired people speaking. If you look, at the pygmies, Pataites, of today, each lock of their hair looks like it was individually twisted in. This is Nine Ether. They still possess their kingly crown. Nine Ether is the highest of all spiritual powers activated through nature and the hormones of the human Elohim Anunnaki, the black gods, manifesting 9 to the 9th power of 9, which is the highest of supreme mathematics. As seen in your hair texture. The symbol 9 is a symbol of birth. You have a natural curl in your hair that shapes like a 9. Speaking, you blacks, children of the Elohim Anunnaki, lost your spiritual powers long ago when you interfered to change your 9 ether sheep-like woolly hair to emulate the 6 ether. To emulate the 6 ether goat-like straight fur of Azazel, the fallen one. Are you listening, people? The root of the word Ethiopian is ether. And in the Middle English, it means upper ear, or in Latin, aether, or in Greek, aether. Ether is the creative power that the sun and other true stars produce and emanate. When the planet was forming and was in a state of desolation, there were forces that were on the planet. Jeremiah 4:23. These forces were 9 ether. These black forces created all life in the water first. Hydrocarbons were present in these waters. Hydrocarbon is simple methane and benzene gas that only contains hydrogen and carbon. Hydrocarbon, hydro from hudor, meaning wet, and carbon from the Latin carbo, meaning charcoal black. So these black gases of 9 ether are the celestial origin of all Ethiopian, Tamarian, Egyptians, 9 ether beings who are called blacks. For 9 ether is the power that produced the pygmy, the Kushites, also called or known as Zulu or Lulu, the ancestral tree of all woolly-haired people who were pre-dynastic Tamaray. Your origin is the water on this planet. You evolved from the water first onto the land and were grown on the planet. Then the Nitirat supreme beings came to planet Earth as 9 ether beings. These black gases, or those black gases of creation, as they manifested physically, they monitored your growth and intervened at different times. Just like now, the 19th elder, Yanun, of the 24 elders, the Nitir Malachi, who is also known by the names Melchizedek, Malachi Zodok, Malki Tisedek, Michael, Mikael, Amun Nubi Ra Achpata, and Nitir Aferti Atumre, who is myself, who is the Son of Righteousness, which is spoken in the book of, or the scroll of Malachi, or the Son of Justice, as the name Murdoch translates. Bible scholars mistranslate the Son of Righteousness as being Yeshua, Jesus of 2,000 years ago. Christ. But in actuality, the Son they are talking about is the literal sun. The huge gaseous ball. The word used in this quote is in the Aramaic Hebrew word Shemesh, meaning sun, or Tisadega, or Sodok, meaning justice or righteousness. They don't use the word for sun like Ben or Bar, which is son, a male child, or male or child. They use the word sun spelled S-U-N, the source of light and heat. They speak of the Son of Righteousness or justice, bringing fire upon the planet Earth, right? This marks the period of time near the end, are you listening, people? When the sun itself will become a means of righteousness or justice. And that justice is a confirmation of a prophecy that was made to you, blacks, Nubians, when the devil comes out to harm you. You know, the KKK police black genocide, fire will rain out of heaven upon them and consume them. Revelation 13:13 and Revelation 29. And this is happening right now. You speaking, you are looking for matches to be struck and flames. That's only one kind of fire. There is a variety of different kinds of fires. There is a gas fire, a carbon fire, an oil fire, an electric fire, a wood fire, and there is a chemical fire, etc., etc. You are looking at some phenomenon other than the prophecy of what's taking place around you on the news and in magazines all over the media, where you hear how the beaches are dangerous and how the Euro-Americans have to get out of the sun, unquote. So, people, why are there no reports of massive skin cancer cases worldwide? Is corona pandemic a clandestine way of saying sun pandemic because corona is the sun being eclipsed by the moon? Obviously, Caucasians would want to conceal from the underdog black people that nature's sun is killing them. That would only be logical, wouldn't it? Let's move on. Speaking. The sun and the other planets that make up your universe's orbits around a central vortex. And just as the 1 year that Earth takes to revolve around the sun is divided into 12 months, so is the time it takes the universe to orbit around that galactic center is divided into 12 periods. Each period consists of 2,075 years, totaling approximately 25,000 years, which is the time that it takes the universe to make one complete rotation around the galaxy. Each period or era has a name to the monthly signs in reverse order. For example, the universe passed out of the era of water in 1970. The era governed by all that is physical. Known as the Piscean era, and it is known, and it is now in the era of air, ether, mind, and power, known to many as the Aquarian Age. 1970 marked the end of the third cycle as you know it, the end of the moon cycle, and the birth of the sun cycle of ether. So in 2019, last year, when the coronavirus pandemic began, according to the clock in the pyramid Giza, the Giza pyramid, the earth will have completed one cycle of the equinox, 24,000 years, and advanced into the mental plane, the clock of destiny, the end of school on the physical plane. Speaking. When school ends, everybody vacates the premises. Isn't that right, people? So, 2019, masses of people started vacating the premises, the planet Earth. Dying, right? Do you get it? Do you get it, people? If you don't, you definitely will in time. Just remember where you heard it first. Now let's switch topics here, people. Let's switch topics. Let me get a water break also. Okay. Speaking. When you see Greek, you are really looking at Greek Jew, also called Jew or Jew. In fact, Jew was first used in the year 1514. European Caucasoids took the Hebrew name Yehuda, Judah, and replaced it with the Yiddish word Jew, meaning to wander. Are you listening, people? In the new translations of the Holy Bible, when you take a history of the word Jew, it comes out Gil or Gu in the Middle English or Old French. You see, the word Gil only goes back as far as the Greek language. Now, also that the J and the G are interchangeable in Semitic. So you get Jew or Jew. All the nations of planet Earth worship America and the Euro Jew who rules the world. These Euro Jews, Jebusites of Canaan, let me say that one more time with the picture. These Euro Jews, Jebusites of Canaan, are not the original people. They are from the physical curse of leprosy. The devil has been causing the deaths of Negroids since he showed Cain how to slay his brother Abel, Genesis 4:6. Since his conception, the physical devil has aided Shaitan in this task, killing black people. We all know this. The Arabs are suffering. The Arabs are suffering under the hands of the Israelis, who are really Jebusites, Euro Jews. And only the faithful will continue to trust in the facts beyond the shadow of a doubt, which is in opposition to the beast. The other beast, which the disciple John saw coming out of the earth with 2 seats of power, 2 horns, represents United States and Israel. The world has been made to think the Jebusite Euro Jew, the Jebusite Euro Jew are gentle as a lamb because they continue to tell the sub-story of the Holocaust of 1945 to make the world feel sorry for them. The Euro Jew Jebusite of Canaan were persecuted and ordered to be killed by Adolf Hitler during the World War II. Okay. In reality, they are the terrorists who have destroyed millions of men, women, and children in the Middle East, Hiroshima, Japan, and the massacre of the Ethiopians over 300 years ago, which the whole world can bear witness to. You can see the state of Israel is an evil killer after the manner of the United States. This is why it is nothing for them to massacre the innocent family members of the Colonel Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya. The Euro Jew has led people to believe he has the right to the land of Palestine by claiming to be a Judahite, descendant of Judah. Jebusite pale Jews are descendants of Canaan and his wife Salima, Shalomi. Jerusalem was originally given to the tribes of Benjamin and Judah as an inheritance, but the Jebusites had migrated there with the prophet Abraham. But the Jebusites had migrated there with the prophet Abraham, and some of them converted to Islam. The tribe of Judah was unable to push out these cursed descendants of Canaan. They disregarded the divine commandments of the Most High El Elyon, which stated not to mix their seed with the cursed seed of Canaan, and cohabited with them. Consequently, they received the wrath of the Most High El Elyon. The Holy Bible, Joshua 15:63. Read it, people. It states, "As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites dwelled with the children of Judah until this day." When the Israelites re-entered Jerusalem with King David, when the Israelites re-entered Jerusalem with King David, they destroyed the Jebusites. 2 Chronicles 11:4-7. The Jew Jebusites falsely claimed to be a Judahite, descendant of Judah, or as the Greeks have translated it, Judean. I have shown you through the scriptures that the Jebusites of Canaan are not Judah. Tagorma who the Khazars claimed descendancy as the father of the Khazars, was a nephew of Magog. Genesis 10:1-3. The Ashkenazim are not what you see today claiming to be Ashkenazim. The people you see today claiming the lineage of Ashkenazim are Khazars, Canaanite Russians, not belonging to the perfect seed of Noah. Google the map from the Funk and Wagner Jewish Encyclopedia. It shows the extent of the Khazar Empire in the 10th century. The map clearly confirms that the Khazars were natives of Europe, not Palestine, and are definitely not Semitic, descendants of Shem. Also take note that the Khazars inhabited the Caucasus Mountains, which form the border between Russia and Turkey. After the Jebusites and the Amorites, after the Jebusites and the Amorites, the fourth son of Canaan left the Caucasus Mountains. They migrated westerly through the Ukraine into Poland, Germany, and then into central Russia. They didn't come to Palestine. They are savages, pagans, who worshipped all kinds of idols before converting to the religion of Abraham. Still, they picked and chosen what laws they would follow. Are you listening, people? The Khazars hired teachers, learned the scriptures from Mesopotamia and Egypt to teach their children the Torah and the Talmud. And because they couldn't enunciate all the songs of the Hebrew language, they developed Yiddish, the language which the Euro Jews acquired during their wanderings from and to various lands, presently called Yiddish, which is an offshoot of the Phoenician script with extractions from the Egyptian scripts. The Greek adopted also that script. Yiddish is a conglomeration of all these scripts, with it being Phoenician and what was termed Old Hebrew. Yiddish is a mixture of Hebrew and German, and the Euro-Jew Jebusites of Austria, Poland, Germany, and Israel are descendants of Khazars. The king of the Khazars, the king of the Khazars are descendant of Canaan's fourth son, King Bulan, converted to Judaism in 740 AD. Long time ago, 740 AD. Making it, Judaism, the state religion. That's 1280 years ago, a long time, people. A few centuries after that, the Khazars convinced themselves that they were no longer Gentiles after all, but were the physical descendants of the prophet Abraham. By the 10th century, a group of Euro Jews went to central Russia. During the Middle Ages, the fierce Mongols from the east and Russians from the north drove the Khazars out of their ancient homeland to the west. Most of them settled in Eastern Europe, within the Baltic nations, Germany, Hungary, Romania, and even westerly, especially Poland, where they established communities of artisans and traders. For more, pull up the following excerpt from an article, America's Promise Broadcaster Network, from 1981. The article is entitled, Research Proves Jews Are Non-Israelite Asiatics. Now, Rabbi Yokel teaches us that Rabbi Yokel teaches us that Paul of the New Testament, Saul, sister's name was Maya, who had a son, Paul's nephew Somnus, according to Acts 22, 25, and 26. 22, 25 through 26. By way of his father intermarrying a Roman woman when he moved into the territory of the Romans. Paul inherited the name Judean, whom speaking, whom you call Jew, due to the tribe of Benjamin, from which his father originated from, also called Benjamin, but recalls himself a Jew in order to gain the Jews. 1 Corinthians 9:26. Let me make it clear. We have a very hard time when explaining this, when words like Jew and Jewish keep coming up, when these words did not exist until the year 1514, 516 years ago. Before we go any further, I would like to make a point about the word Jew. The point is that the first use of the word Jew was in the year 1514. So when you read any books that are making a reference to the past, meaning before 1514, and you see the word Jew or Jewish, no, that is not the word that is really there. Speaking, he knows. When you read the Bible, Holy Bible, which were long before 1514, and you see the word Jew or Jewish, know that you are being deceived, and that the word Jew or Jewish is not really there. So the question is, who put the word Jew in the Holy Bible and why? The first time you read the word Jew in the Bible is in Esther 2:5. They called Mordecai a Jew and a Benjaminite. But this was a mistranslation, because if you look up the Strong's number 03064 for the word Jew, you get Yahudi in modern Hebrew. Yehudi, and it means Judah. This is an obvious plot of deception, so that you will think that the Holy Bible is referring to the so-called Jew you see today. They have infiltrated Israel and are now calling themselves Israeli of the state of Israel, the land, and claiming descendancy from Judah. Ezra 2:59. But they could not shew their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. The fact is, they are Khazars of Russia, calling themselves Ashkenazim. Khazars of Russia, calling themselves Ashkenazim. One of the two major groups by geographical origin and corresponding